Firstly, I'll just discuss the 3 research papers that I found quite relevant to this topic. So, physical and technical demands of offensive and defense in contested phases in Australian rules football. This study provides a detailed examination of the different phases of play in AFL. It uses data from Champion data to analyze performance metrics, helping to understand where and how players expend their energy during a game. So I'll add the link to that article from the BMC Sports Science Medicine Rehabilitation. Second article that I found helpful, physical and technical demands of Australian rules football, analysis of maximum ball in play periods. So this research analysed the demands during the maximum ball in play periods using microsensor data. It includes metrics like total running distance, high speed, and acceleration. So your classic GPS metrics. Number 3, evaluating match running performance in elite Australian rules football, a narrative review. So this discussed the variations in running performance across different phases of a season and how these are impacted by training volumes and playing experience. Anaerobic work, some of my favorite is simply programming like 27 or 25 to 30% ASR. And if you don't know what that is, make sure to check out our episode with Gareth Sanford to get a good understanding. We've also got a blog post on it, so where I go into a little bit more detail on how to find out a squad's ASR and break them into categories of different profiles for the athletes, whether it be a speed-based, endurance, or hybrid. 25 to 30%, 30% quite aggressive. So start with 25 and build them up, and then typically 25 upwards of 40-second duration reps, where they typically would get at least 2 to 1. Sometimes when you're starting this out, 3 to 1 of rest. So if you're doing a 40-second rep, give them a couple of minutes off. So you're doing a rep every 200 seconds, for example. Next, we've got like our aerobic endurance. So things like working at 90% of their maximum aerobic speed can be really helpful. So I like fartlek for these ones, 45-15s, 45-second run, 90% for most footballers will be around 200 meters. So 45 seconds to run their 200 meters, and they have 15 seconds rest and they repeat. Heart rate's usually quite high in this workout, but the speed isn't too intense, so they're able to maintain good consistency and good rhythm with their running. Strength and power for AFL. I like to think, well, first, it's injury prevention, so how to mitigate injury. So calf, things like the heavy sled prowler pushes. Quad, we're doing eccentric work for mitigate against the big kicking loads, especially in off season when they're not getting their kicking volumes up. So a reverse Nordic. Hamstring, getting the Nordics in, both weighted, body weight, single leg Nordics. So really working the hamstring super maximally in eccentric phase. From an ACL point of view, I like to think about from the neuro development point of view, so their efficiency of their movement, not just about the capacity. So how well are they running with their drilling, their agility patterns. Think of it, if they're poor in this area, it's almost like a mobile in low reception. So we want to make sure we're always at high mobile reception, where there's quick reactions and quality in there, both neuromuscular control, but also in their stiffness. So that's where plyometrics can help. On test, thinking anti-rotation, so loaded carries like a weighted carry, where you're not in lateral flexion. Switches while you're keeping your trunk stiff, so limb exchange in the air as fast as you can while keeping the trunk stiff to mitigate that lateral flexion. And then from a contest point of view, the opposite, rotational power, rotating ankles, hips, and shoulders as fast as possible. Off season, I like athletes that's feeling heavy once a week with their legs and their upper body, like a box squat for legs, upper body bench press, twice a week in pre-season, and then back to once a week in season. So twice a week, you bookended in pre-season, deadlift and a squat, bench press and a weighted chin-up. In season, we go back to that. Still, a lot of footballers won't get in even once a week of lower body and upper body, and that's when they really lose a lot of strength. Come finals, when the game's really contested and you're your weakest part of the year, so it doesn't make any sense. So make sure you keep up your strength, and you should get PBs in season. Plyometrics, we're thinking plyos pre-field, loaded accelerations pre-field with chains and bands, doing some throws and jumps post-field, so working on that true power work. Use the landmine for rotational power, and lifting, whether it be Olympic lifts or moderate loads with your jumping activities and throwing activities like Smith machine, bent throws, squat jumps.